Hi ladies, good afternoon. It is Sarah Shipton here from Scrapbooking with Sarah, and I'm coming live to you today on Tuesday, March 17 with this week's Technique Tuesday. You might be looking at this layout and thinking, oh, these papers are a little bit out of order with the monthly paper suites that I feature in my Technique Tuesday videos. And yes, I've decided to throw in one of the March online exclusives for this week's Technique Tuesday. It is just so beautiful that I couldn't not feature it in a weekly video. So I hope that you are going to enjoy the things that I share with you this afternoon. Many of you know that I've just returned from our annual on stage event with Stampin' Up. This is a convention or conference, for want of a better word, called On Stage that we attend with Stampin' Up on an annual basis, and this year it was in Sydney. So I have got lots of exciting things to share with you all. I'm not going to be doing that today, but I am going to be giving some sneak peeks at my workshops this weekend of some of the free products that we won and the giveaways that we got. And then of course I have my catalogue launch event on the evening of Tuesday, May 5, which is the date that the new catalogue will go live. And then if you are not able to attend my catalogue launch, you can sign up for my catalogue mailing program. I sent an email about that last week, and I've posted information about that in my Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton Facebook group. If you have not seen the email or know about the catalogue mailer, please drop me a comment below and I will make sure that I get the information to you so you can get your hands on your very own copy of the May to August 2026 catalogue. For today, I'm going to be sharing this gorgeous paper suite with you. It's called the Delicate Dreams Suite Collection. But let's start with the pattern that we are creating first of all. I'm going to run through how you can recreate this with your own papers that you have got at home. And then I'm going to share the suite collection with you and also some cards that I've created using the Delicate Dreams suite collection. So this week we are creating a double page spread. I've taken this single page pattern and I've turned it into a double page spread. We are using the main frame tied up pattern. It's on page 59 of the Reflection Scrapbook program. This is an old how-to pattern book I've taken off the shelf. We're going back to basics with our scrapbooking patterns. I'm really enjoying doing this because I've got lots of new people since I've transitioned to Stampin' Up. I've got a lot of people that have found me online that are new to scrapbooking, are learning how to get started, and these back to basic patterns are really helping people to become more confident with their scrapbooking. So thank you so much for watching, whether you join me live in our Facebook group on Tuesdays or catch up on the replay that I upload to my YouTube channel, Scrapbooking with Sarah Shipton. So to recreate this pattern, you're going to need 2 sheets of 12 by 12 inch, either cardstock or designer series paper. I've opted for white willow as the base of my cardstock. I haven't gutted it, and I'm going to explain that to you why when we go through the cutting dimensions. You're going to need another 2 sheets of either designer series paper or cardstock, and you're going to cut them at 11 by 11 inches, okay? Now, I've used designer series paper, and as you can see, it creates this gorgeous border pattern around the outside. This sheet of designer series paper I have actually cut down, okay? So I have left a 1 inch by 1 inch border around the outside here, and then it's this one that's got the square underneath it, and then I've matted this with cardstock over the top. So you'll need another 2 sheets of either plain cardstock or designer series paper. Now the instructions say to cut it at 8 by 8 inches. However, that is for you to get a 1/2 inch mat around the outside of a 7 by 7 inch square photo like they're showing here in the pattern. I decided that I wanted a collage of 4 photos measuring 4 by 4 inches. So these are photos that I've printed, just standard 4 by 6 inch photo size, and I've cut the photos down to 4 by 4 inches. Okay, so then you get this perfect square. Now, in order for me to have this 1/2 inch border running around the outside of these 4 photos, I've needed to cut this cardstock at 9 by 9 inches, okay? So the great thing about doing that is I have also matted this cardstock. I've also popped this cardstock up using my Stampin' Dimensionals. So you're going to want to use the larger size of your Stampin' Dimensionals, or if you've got a packet of the foam adhesive strips, these are long adhesive strips that you could actually run around the outside of each of your squares. This will be quicker and easier and more cost effective as well. Okay, so I will be sure to drop comments in the video with the products that I'm sharing with you today. Okay, now in terms of this strip running through the middle here, you can cut your strip at 1.5 inches by 11 inches. I actually just use scrap, so my paper finishes just underneath here. So as long as you've got your width at 1.5 inch, and if it's probably longer than an inch, because there's an inch gap here, so it tucks in and underneath your cardstock mat. You don't necessarily need to run paper the whole way underneath because you're not going to see it. So this base here is measuring 1.5 inches, and this is in crumb cake cardstock. And then I've used some designer series paper. I've cut this at 1 inches, stuck that on top of the 1.5 inch of cardstock, and it looks like you've got this banner that's running through the middle of your page. It'll be very easy to lay this out as well. I will give you a little bit of a heads up that we have got some grid paper coming in the May 5 catalogue for you to be able to use with your traditional 12 by 12 inch scrapbooking. So I've put this designer series paper smack bang in the middle of my 12 by 12 inch base. So you've got this 1/2 inch border around the outside. I've then put, when you've got this lined up on a mat, you will see that this is going to run, the middle of this is going to be at the 6 inches of your scrapbook page. So then this will run evenly right through the middle of your page, and then your 9 by 9 inch square is going to go over the top of the designer series paper. I just typically eyeball it. I do use a 12 by 12 inch mat. I know that many of you invested in a 12 by 12 inch mat during your time with me at Close to My Heart. Unfortunately, Stampin' Up! Don't sell scrapbooking mats measuring 12 by 12, but we do have some grid paper that will be coming that you will be able to purchase in the new catalogue, which is super exciting. Okay, and then of course my photos on top. We've got 4 squares here measuring 4 by 4, and you want to start with one. You will want your grid paper so you can line this up evenly, and then once you've got one on, you'll be able to fit the other 4 easily in a square like so. And you're just going to mirror image that pattern. So this was actually the pattern that we did at my scrapbooking retreat weekend a couple of weeks ago. So the ladies that attended that retreat all got a creative kit, and they made this scrapbooking layout, and they made these 2 cards. So I'm going to run through those cards with you in a little bit more detail at the end of the video. But the best thing about this layout is that I encouraged everyone, because the creative kit was a surprise and they didn't know what papers we were going to be creating with. These were only released on the first Tuesday in March, and my scrapbooking retreat was that weekend. So even if you had ordered the papers, the girls wouldn't have had them in time for retreat. So my retreat customers were the first ones to actually create with this new Delicate Dreams Suite collection. One of the perks of being a demonstrator is that I get a 6 weeks pre-order period on new product that's about to be released. So I was able to pre-order all of the new product in, prep the creative kits for the girls, and then they actually made this scrapbooking layout on the weekend. The best thing about printing your photos in black and white, especially if you don't know what papers you're going to be work with in that instance, is that black and white photos go with everything. And I have encouraged all of my ladies that attended retreat to please post their layout that they created on the challenge for this week. So not only will they go in the draw, but you will be inspired by how my customers have used this suite collection with their photos, and you're going to see beautifully different variations. Okay, so in terms of embellishing the layout, what I've done here is actually cut some 1 by 1 inch squares of white willow. I have demonstrated this in week 1 of our March challenges, and I have used the new Simple Alphabet photopolymer stamp set. So this is your lowercase and numbers. This was a March online exclusive, so you won't see it in a catalogue, but you will find it on the website. This was very popular with my customers at retreat, and I measured 1 by 1 inch squares, so we got a perfect fit for the letters. And I've stamped the title Kayla and Ethan, and I've popped that up also on Stampin' Dimensionals, and I've stamped the letters in Mossy Meadow. Okay, so there are 4 colors that coordinate with this. Actually, there's 6, but one of them is yet to be released. It's going to be one of the new in colors that you'll see on May 5. But we have got Mossy Meadow, Crumb Cake, Grey Granite, and also Secret Sea as the 4 colors. Also bronze, and I'm going to share some of those papers with you shortly. And a new color that is being released on May 5, which is called Hydrangea Hue. And it's a beautiful blue, very similar to the periwinkle that we had, if you remember that color, when we were with Close to My Heart. So I've stamped those letters in the Mossy Meadow, and just so the letters didn't look so plain, I have stamped some of the little flowers in Grey Granite on the edges here. And then I've used some of the Delicate Dreams coordinating dies to cut out some little flowers in the coordinating cardstock. We've got Secret Sea and Grey Granite there. And then I've made some little embellishment features using the coordinating stamps and dies, which is what I'm going to be demonstrating to you today. And I've finished them off with some of the neutral matte dots. Okay, now the reason I wanted to share this technique with you ladies today is to give you the confidence to be able to use stamps and dies as your embellishing options, because some of the suites that Stampin' Up release do not come with coordinating sticker packs. So I'm just going to bring in the March online exclusives. So you will find these in my online store. If you're on my mailing list, I have emailed you a link to this PDF, and it's also posted in our Facebook group as well. So every 2 months we have online exclusives, and they fall on odd numbered months. So 1, 3, 5, 7, etc. 3 for March. And we've got 2, 3, 4 new product suites here. And I opted to work with the Delicate Dreams product suite for my scrapbooking retreat at March. So my customers got to see something new and exciting. Now you can purchase the suite in its entirety, which is what I've done. And I'm going to go through and show you each of the individual components of the suite today. Or you can purchase the products individually, okay? Now, you won't see it on the PDF, but you do see it on the product description on the website, the coordinating colors. So I'm going to bring in some of those papers now and show you what comes in the suite. So I'm going to start with the Delicate Dreams Designer Series paper. And I don't have whole sheets because I've obviously cut all of the 12 by 12 sheets down, but I'm going to show you the front and back of each side of the paper. So we've got this gorgeous white with the bronze through there. You can see on the back of that, you've got some Grey Granite. This is a wash. Then we've got some Secret Sea with the bronze through that. I'm just getting that in the light for you. And then this gorgeous Hydrangea Hue floral pattern on the other side. Here we've got some Crumb Cake and white. And then we've got white and Crumb Cake and the bronze through there. Isn't it just stunning? This is a specialty designer series pack, and it's specialty because it's got the bronze on each side of one sheet of the paper. This one, we've got a big floral pattern with the Hydrangea Hue, Secret Sea Crumb Cake, and you can see the bronze there. On the back of that, you've just got this gorgeous textured woven crumb cake pattern. Then we have got this check pattern with crumb cake, grey granite, and the hydrangea hue. And on the back side of that, you've got another floral pattern, this gorgeous bronze. I love how that's picking that up in that light with the secret sea and the grey and the green. And then we've got another large floral pattern with the bronze in there on the petals. And on the back side of that, you've got the mossy meadow wash with those papers. So just stunning florals. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm really enjoying creating with this. I've got lots of leftovers, so I'll be probably doing some more layouts and making some cards as well. Then you've got all the coordinating cardstock colours. Now, it's important to note that the coordinating cardstock colours don't come as a standalone pack, okay? So you'll either need to get your coordinating cardstock colours from me individually in person at a workshop, or you'll have to buy like whole packets of each colour. So you get 12 sheets of cardstock in one pack, and in Australia they retail $17.50 a pack, and they're two-tone. So this is crumb cake with the lighter tone. We've got grey granite also in two-tone. We've got mossy meadow in the two-tone, and then we've got the secret sea in the two-tone as well. Now, I don't have hydrangea hue to show you, but that is going to be a cardstock colour that we're releasing on May 5, and that's going to be one of the 5 new in colours that you'll see in the Stampin' Up range. If you book in for my catalogue launch, I'm going to have a display of the 5 new in colours there, and you're going to get to play with some of those new products. Also in the Delicate Dreams suite, we've got the Delicate Designs Specialty Designer paper. So this is the bronze Specialty Designer paper. So you've got this gorgeous leaf pattern, a floral pattern with white as the background, and then this grid bronze pattern. The Specialty Designer series paper is blank on the back, so you are going to get 2 sheets of each of these specialty, or maybe it's 3. Let me just check that. I've got my packaging here. It's 6 sheets in the pack, so yes, 2 of each of these designs. So that's all of the papers. And then there is also a stamp set. So we've got the Delicate Whispers stamp set, which I haven't used. Oh, I have used, sorry, on this scrapbook layout here. And this is what I'm going to demonstrate to you today. I did use this stamp mostly on my cards. So we have got the sentiment, hello friend, the sentiment, thank you kindly. And that was also another thank you kindly one. And this card I actually stamped using the banner sayings. I am in love with this stamp set, and in fact this came as a bundle with the stamp set and the 3 banner punch, and I was able to create a whole heap of thank you cards for the ladies that attended my retreat. They all got happy mail last week, so I've stamped some of the banners there, and then I've stamped thanks a million on there. So super cute. I also used this stamp set and banner punch for a whole heap of hello friend cards I made for my team members that attended on stage with me in Sydney last week. So I brought a couple of different products in there to complement this stamp set. Now I'm going to be demonstrating the dies to you today as well. So we're going to stamp and then we're going to die cut. Now, the other items that come with this suite are the natural matte dots, and you get the colours Secret Sea, Crumb Cake, Mossy Meadow, and a plain white, which I've used all of them. And then there's also a grey granite trim, which I have left in my other room by accident. But if you look very closely here, it's actually just peeking out underneath this card. And in fact, if you were to go and look at the cards on the website where the Delicate Dreams Suite collection is, I was inspired to create these cards. This one is basically been cased, and case stands for copy and share everything. So when Stampin' Up, casing artwork is definitely encouraged. So this card was cased from the online store, and this one was as well, but I've kind of done it a little bit differently. and I've used some watercolor pencils with this here. Stampin' Up! Don't currently have watercoloring pencils, so I have used some other watercoloring pencils that I already had. But stay tuned, because in the new catalogue, May 5, we are going to have some watercoloring pencils, and I can't wait to share some techniques with you about that as well. So shall we get into the stamping portion of today? Absolutely. I'm going to bring my stamping pierce mat in, and then I like to keep a little bag of scraps here. So let's grab a couple of those white willow scraps, and then I've got one of the stamps. So the stamp that I'm recreating today is this little cluster here. Now, I haven't gone really over the top in terms of embellishing this layout, because the hero is really this designer series paper, okay? And the reason why I'm demonstrating today using stamped dies for your embellishments is that sometimes when Stampin' Up! Releases product suites, you cannot purchase a coordinating designer series paper and sticker pack with it. In some instances you can. So for example, in the new May catalogue, we have, I think it's 7 new suites coming out. And of those 7 new suites, 3 of them will have coordinating scrapbooking workshop kits, which are very exciting. And I can't show you the inside of the catalogue yet, but I can't remember. At present, as it stands, this particular product suite doesn't have a coordinating sticker and designer series paper pack. Okay, so that is why I'm showing you today how you can use stamped dies to do your embellishing on your scrapbook layout. So let's get into it. I've got my stamp already here on my block. And one of the things I love about this stamp set is you've actually got the stamp that goes either way. So you could use this as like a little bit of a horseshoe effect, perhaps on your scrapbook layout or on a card that you make. And then we've got the coordinating dies here as well. So let's just open this up now, and I'm going to grab out. Now, I like to put my dies on a magnetic carrier sheet just because it keeps them all in the one spot. If I'm stamping my stamp that way, I'm going to need that die. So let's get out the correct die before I start doing all of the cutting. First of all, I'm just going to stamp the one today to show you how this works. I'm going to bring in my Mossy Meadow Classic Stampin' Pad. Another announcement they made on stage is that we will be transitioning to magnetic stamp cases, and if you've not seen a magnetic stamp case, this is what they look like. They are really easy, obviously, to open, close. They stack on one another, which is great for transporting. And the Stampin' Up! Ones will have actually all of the stickers on the back, just like you're used to when you get your existing ink pads. You'll be able to peel your sticker off and put stickers on the front here and then on the inside as well. You've also got the recessed lid for the magnetic ink pads as well. Now, this is going to be a 1-year transition to the new magnetic ink pads, and Stampin' Up! Are going to start with the 5 in colours first of all, and then gradually all of the ink pads will transition over to May of 2027. So I've just inked up my stamp there. Isn't that gorgeous? I love it. You know what? I'm just going to do another one because stamping's so much fun. Can you see how I'm just tapping that on the felt? I'm not applying pressure. I'm not pushing in. And the reason for that being is that if you apply too much pressure and push in, you're going to sink that stamp right into your ink pad, and then you're going to end up with ink all around the outside of your block. And we've all been there. Me too, lots of times. As you can see, the magnetic ink pads are going to be much easier to open and close. I know that some of my customers have a little bit of difficulty with these ink pads, these stamp pads. And when we transitioned to Stampin' Up!, they did tell us, the founders that went to Salt Lake City 2 years ago, that they bought the patent from Close to My Heart because this was actually a patented product, which meant that we were the only ones on the market at that time to be able to manufacture that particular style of ink pad. And so it was very exciting. They weren't made any promises, so they just said, if we do it, it's going to be at least 2 years away. And well, here we are 2 years later, and we're now introducing the first 5 colors from the in color range, which is very exciting. Now, from a price point perspective, they are the same price as what the magnetic ink pads were when Close to My Heart left our market 2 years ago. Okay, so for my customers that transitioned with me, it's not really going to be a huge amount of difference for you, because you ladies were already paying that price to invest in your ink pads, and they're going to be a felt ink pad, so the same quality, design, texture that we had 2 years ago with Close to My Heart, a felt ink pad versus a foam ink pad, which is what Stampin' Up have. So it's very exciting that that is coming. Now, I know some of you have really enjoyed transitioning to the foam ink pads and are enjoying using them. Well, my suggestion to you would be to invest in them now before they are slowly phased out. And of course, I ended up with probably about 20 of the 50 colors. Okay, so I also have the new the foam ink pads here, and you can use them if you're coming to my workshops. So I've stamped that, I've put my die over the top, I've got my sandwich ready, and we are just going to roll this through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And the magic is happening. Here we have a perfectly cut, stamped and die cut image. Is that just not the funnest thing ever? I use washi tape to hold my dies in place, and sometimes the washi tape tears the white willow cardstock, so I'm going to be really careful taking that off of this one here. I need to get some more transparent washi tape. At the on stage we were at on the weekend, some of the demonstrators were using post-it notes, which I thought was interesting. Is that just not the most perfect? Oh my gosh, I've done that perfectly, girls. I love it when I do Technique Tuesdays and my videos work out, because there have been times where I have stuffed things up for sure, and that's because I'm human, and yes, I'm the demonstrator, but even too, I'm still learning, and sometimes I get things wrong. So here we've got a beautiful die cut image. So this one, oh, it wasn't going like that, and that one wasn't going like that. How did I do that? Okay, well, I must have stamped them I've stamped the other stamp, so this time I've stamped the different one. So you know what, I could probably even put another one over the top there with some foam tape, but I feel like it's going to be too much. I don't really feel like I need to add anything more to that. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes less is more, girls, yeah? Now, the fun thing about these types of stamped images, let's just pop this on here so we can see it a bit better. The great thing with this is that you could do some colouring techniques. So I've coloured this in here with the watercolour pencils. You could use the Stampin' Blends as well. And in fact, we did lots of colouring techniques on stage over the weekend. So stay tuned, because you are going to see me share some of those techniques with you, especially at my open house on May 5. So that is my Technique Tuesday for today, girls. Once you've done your stamped die cut images, you can stick them on anywhere you like to add embellishments. If this was a sheet of the Designer Series paper that was a little bit more plain, like let's say I used more of like the grey whitewash or the green whitewash, and I wanted something a little bit more decorative, then I probably would have used more of these stamped and die cut images just to jazz it up a little bit. But because I've got such a heavy pattern there, busy pattern I should say, it really only needed just a couple of little something else with the embellishing. So I hope that technique has been fun for you today, and you've enjoyed some of the little sneak peek tidbits that I've shared with you from on stage. And of course, the beautiful new Delicate Dreams Sweet collection. I will drop comments below with links to all the products I've shared with you today. Have a fabulous week, ladies, and I cannot wait to see your creations. If you are at my retreat, you guys have already got your layout ready to go, so please post and share your gorgeous artwork with us so you too can go in the draw to win free gifted Stampin' Rewards from me to you. Have a fabulous week, everyone. I also want to make a special mention to Sonia, who's having a birthday today, and I can see that she's watching live. Have a great day, Sonia. Enjoy your day off scrapbooking at home. Bye for now, ladies.